it's Bulbasaur. Oh, and it's the Mewtwo one. Oh. But if you like Pokemon, it's probably worth it.
Wow.
Hello and welcome to the Abroad Japan podcast. Probably the best way of learning about life in Japan without actually being in Japan. I'm your host, Chris Broad, and we're joined as always by England's top Japan enthusiast, Mr. Pete Donaldson himself. Pete, how the devil are you doing?
Hello, darling. How are you? I'm just reading the YouTube comments on a previous episode of the Abroad Japan program. And
you're very sensitive to comments. So I remember when you came on the Abroad Japan channel years ago,
right,
you read a comment that was like, "I don't like this man," and you got really offended by it.
Oh, Chris,
I know what you're like.
I couldn't give two. Do you think
lies?
Do you think I'd look like this if I cared what people thought of me?
You look like Colonel Sanders.
I look like everybody. I look like T-Bag from Prison Break. I look like Begbie from Trainspotting. I look like everyone who looks a little bit unwell. I just look like someone who's a little unwell. But a lot of the comments are just about how nice our studios are. We're not in either of them.
No.
Even I got some good reviews. My automatons on the wall.
Yes. Somebody sent me Beat It by Michael Jackson played by Automaton.
Oh, it's a really... Yeah. There's a really... If you buy one of them in automatons, they're like little musical instruments that look like little kind of cartoon sperms, I suppose. Like I presume they're musical notes, but they sort of speak.
They're kind of
like
cool.
Frog Spawn. They are cool, but the guy who makes it is like this kind of like sort of celebrity inventor kind of guy, isn't he? And so he has little pod shops around craft fairs and stuff in Japan. And he's interesting enough chap, but the build quality is pretty atrocious. Every time I buy one, it's like, well, that's broken. That one's broken. That one's broken. They're all broken. They're all rubbish.
Too strong your hands. Your hands too strong, man.
And I do not know how to treat an instrument correctly. But somebody sent me, quite a few of you actually sent me the video version of somebody doing an automaton performance of "Wake Me Up in Evanescence."
Oh, Evanescence. Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, I got that.
When the rapper comes in, it is something else.
It's so weird. What an instrument, honestly. It's pretty cool.
It's horrible sounding, isn't it?
That's pretty cool. But I'm depressed. I was at Heathrow Airport earlier today.
Right.
Just like you do.
Just hanging out.
Just like you were
doing it.
And I saw Concorde, and I was like, no,
what?
Don't leave it there, because they just leave it on the runway.
What?
So you can walk around terminal.
Runway?
I don't know. The left
one. They left Concorde on the runway. They were like, we'll just leave
not
it.
Not literally on the runway. Like, okay, we're coming into land.
We're closing that one now. Yeah.
Someone just move Concorde out the way.
Turn off the lights. Yeah. Oh, so it's just on display, or one of them. There's like 5 or 6, isn't there? There's a few.
Rewind the conversation, right? With the runway conversation.
Right.
You just remind me of the story. You know Ian?
Yeah.
Ian Rudd of the legend behind Journey Across Japan.
Yeah.
And kind of producer for Broad. He came back to the UK recently, and he said as the plane was coming into land, he had a camera on the plane where you could see like ahead of the plane. And he could see the runway. And he said the plane was coming down, and there was a plane sitting on the runway.
Right.
There.
Did they do a go around? Did they execute a go
around? And he was like looking around. A few other people like, like, oh shit, are we going to crash?
Right.
And then right at the moment, the pilot hit the throttle and the plane was and took back off over the plane. And he was like, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We just had a crash there. So, and Ian was like, it was so bad. Ian was like, I looked up on the news afterwards to see if it had been reported. Because
it'll definitely be in the flight people on YouTube. They'll be talking about it.
And he was like, no, it was just a day in the life of Heathrow, almost crashing a plane. Like, it sounded terrifying.
Yeah.
He was genuinely shook up by it. So
never happens, but when it happens,
I
mean, they'll have hell to pay for that.
There's a lot of near misses and a lot of things you don't hear about with airplanes.
Yeah.
I don't want to know about it, to be honest.
One of my favourite YouTubers is the Mentor Pilot, and he's a Swedish bloke, and he flies for everyone, and he does teaching or whatever. And he basically goes through all of the crashes and just says, this is what would have happened if they'd done it slightly differently. And he's really, as you can imagine, a pilot. He's very sort of even-handed, very intelligent. Good God, they're talented. And he just sort of goes through, all of the things that would have had to have gone wrong for crashes to happen or incidents to happen or, this and that. And he will never assign blame. He'll never sort of go, well, the pilot did this and he should be struck off.
He
literally goes, this is not what this channel's about. It's not about finding fault. It's very much sort of going, this is what happened afterwards.
I want to find the
to
fault.
make it safer. And this is why you should feel more confident in flying every time there's a crash. it all gets safer. And but there are some ones that he covers that even he, I think, would in his heart of hearts would find it quite difficult to sort of not assign blame, because sometimes you'll have like the cockpit voice recorder where bloke's going, let's take it up as high as it'll go. Let's just see what this baby can do.
My God.
If you hear, let's see what this baby can do, and you've got a massive Boeing 747 cargo plane, and this guy's going, that's not what I would have done. It's he's really stoic about not assigning blame when someone's going, I'm going to do a loop-de-loop. I'm going to press the loop-de-loop button.
on the cockpit recorder. Let's see what this baby can do. It's a bit like Concorde, right? There's a litany of errors went wrong with Concorde, like on 2000 when it crashed.
Yeah.
And this whole episode is about Concorde.
It is.
British engineering gone wrong.
Can't remember what flight left behind that bit of metal that flew up into their...
So it crashed in Continental Airlines flight. A bit of metal fell off, and the engineer actually got sued, or he went to court over it for not fixing the metal. The metal came off on the runway from a Continental Airlines flight. A few minutes later, Concorde comes down the runway. Its rubber tyre hits the metal. It cuts the tyre. A piece of the tyre explodes and flings up into the
fuel tank.
The fuel tank. And the fuel tank
it wasn't protected, was it?
It wasn't protected.
They put Kevlar on it after the
did,
event.
But the tank was like full to the brim.
Yeah.
And apparently the French pilot should have burnt off some of the fuel, but he didn't. But hit the fuel tank. There was nowhere for the fuel to go.
Right.
So the pressure sort of ruptured the engine, caused an explosion, and it was all downhill from there. So it was like a litany of errors, right?
Yeah.
A few things went wrong to cause it. And then the best plane ever got fucked.
The best plane ever. And that was the real quiz.
I was ashamed that, the plane came in, I was in today in Heathrow, and I looked at Concorde and I thought, fuck. No!
I could have been in Japan in 8 hours rather than 14.
14 hours. It could have been done in like 6 or 7 hours. Probably 6 hours if we're lucky, but...
You'd need a refuel, wouldn't you?
In the sky over Kazakhstan. But I used to... My grandparents used to live in Bromley, London, and Concorde would fly over every day. My God, it was loud. You knew it was two Olympus engines booming, terrifying. Yeah. It looked incredible, and just seeing it there, sitting on the tarmac at Heathrow, not on the runway but near it.
I remember.
It just feels like teasing. Like, look at what we used to have. We used to go to New York in 3 hours. Now it's 7.
Well, I was like 24, 25, and I remember the last Concorde flying over the 24. The last Concorde flying over London.
Yeah, 2003.
And I sort of ran. Would have been that? Yeah, or maybe it was a bit.
You're an old man, Pete.
23? No. Anyway, and I'd not been on a plane at that point.
Really?
So I was like, my concept of what Concorde represented was very much my first flight was quite a bit later than that, simply because I went out with someone from Jersey.
Wait,
I'd never been on a plane before.
But you're the most well-travelled man ever.
I squeezed it in
for tea.
Squeezed it in my 30s.
What? So you never got on a plane until you were how old?
Like 25?
You must have thought, what is this wizard technology? We can fly in the sky.
Yeah.
God, that must be trippy, because obviously, I think I went on when I was like 3. Yeah. So planes were just a normal thing. Although weirdly...
I tell a lie. I did go on a 3-man plane in York at the seaside once. My dad took me up. I think it was like Flamingo Land.
He took us up.
Plane. Well, he took us up and flew around and then flew down. I was like, that's quite dangerous, right? It's needless air travel. You don't need it.
It's weird. I never thought twice about planes, other than I loved them and I wanted to be a pilot for a time.
Right.
And then around 25, when you were having your first flight, that's when I went, wait a minute, I'm in the sky in a box at 40,000 feet on like 100 gallons of petrol.
Yeah.
This is a shit
Suboptimal,
idea.
Isn't it? Suboptimal.
This isn't a good idea.
Yeah.
What's this about? And that's and for the next few years I didn't like flying. But I can't believe that. Wow, you just never went on holiday until you were 25.
We only had the cash. We never had passports. We just went to.
You didn't have a passport?
Caravans. Go to caravan parks.
So you never went to Spain like every British person does?
No.
Really?
Well, back then you used to drive down, didn't you?
Back then we went on horse and
Back
carriage.
then people used to drive down. We didn't really have a car, so.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
There's the Hartlepool. You're not paying them for the greatest light of Hartlepool.
Well, maybe Hartlepool's too nice. That's why we stayed there.
But there you go, Concorde. When you arrive in Heathrow, guys, if you do, keep an eye out for the most beautiful plane ever. That unfortunately just sits there, a relic of a time forgotten now.
Yeah.
It's getting emotional. But we got a story from Knox from Saga Prefecture. It begins. Hello, Chris and Pete. Today I have a story which I hope inspires anyone living in Japan or visiting that might want to go out drinking and meet some locals. Earlier this year, during Golden Week, I was travelling through Tohoku, North Japan, with some family, and I spent a few nights in Sendai. As a fan of heavy metal and punk music, I always try to find a metal or rock bar whenever I visit a new city. And after a quick Google search, I found one called Mosh Chokers and decided to swing by. Mosh Chokers.
Just
Pete.
ask anyone with nodding terms of English. Like, does this make sense? I mean, they're two words.
Mosh
Chokers.
Or mosh pit. Choke.
Yeah, but choke.
Pit.
I mean, chokers. I mean, I don't know, like a gothy choker, sexy choker, or like a I'm so metal. I'm choking.
Mosh. It just sounds like a group of people that go and assault people in mosh pits.
Pretty much.
The mosh chokers. Anyway, I've lived in Sendai like 5-6 years. And I've never heard of this place, so I'm going to look it up after this.
Yeah.
He continues. I immediately fell in love with the bar as it had an amazing atmosphere and played great music. Seeing as how I was in town on Monday and Tuesday before the holiday really started for everyone, the place was pretty empty both nights I visited, leaving a lot of time for me to chat up the bartender, Takuya. While my Japanese isn't great, we were able to chat all night with a little help from Google Sensei. On my second night drinking there, I could tell that Takuya had taken a liking to me as he gifted me some charms and earrings upon my arrival in the bar. After a few hours there, around 11 p.m, he asked me where else I planned on going that night. I can't find anywhere else as good as this, I said, so I'll probably be here until you guys close, or I get too drunk. To my surprise, he responded with, "Want to get out of here? I can show you some cool bars in town. Bars that are better than this." The bar was meant to be open until 5 a.m, and he was the only one working, meaning he would have to close 6 hours early to do this. But I agreed, and he closed the bar up. God, what did the people do without mosh chokers? What did they do? He mentioned he was going to take me to a local soccer bar, which had me pretty unexcited. But upon arriving at said soccer bar, however, loud, hardcore punk reverberated throughout the bar. The people there looked incredibly alternative too. Takuya said, "This is a punk bar, only on Tuesdays." He went on to tell everyone in the bar that I was the coolest gaijin in Japan. He bought me too many shots and he laughed the night away. Around 4 a.m, I ended back at my hotel, throwing up for the first and only time in Japan before facing the wrath of a family woken up by my drunken hotel entrance. Best Knox from Saga Prefecture in South Japan. I love the way Knox just completely oblivious to his family in this whole story. I was thinking, where was the family? And now we know.
Where's the family?
Sitting in bed going, "Fuck's sake, why is he drinking again?" Because he spent too much time at Mosh Chokers. Pete, are you going to go to Mosh Chokers?
Free charms and earrings. I mean, it's just good stuff, yeah.
You've sold me on this place. This is cool, though. Like, it's not uncommon for these bars to just be quite quiet, run by someone who's kind of eccentric.
Yeah.
And I've been at, bars and restaurants before where the owner, you're the last one there or the only one there, and the owner's just like, let's just shut the shop and go for a drink. And it's pretty cool.
I mean, what else are they going to sell, like, after that time? You know what I mean?
They're only going to earrings and trinkets.
They're only going to have, like, a couple more customers, I think it's fair to say. So, yeah, I've seen that happen before. We were in a bar in maybe Hiroshima. We were in a bar where we were having a drink in a baseball bar, and the man just closed up and took us around the corner to like not a secret room, but like an upstairs room in a restaurant, and just basically fed and watered us for another couple of hours. It was a really nice experience. They were really nice.
That's cool.
I think he was trying to partner off his daughter to my friend Alex. Who wasn't interested.
She was there as well?
Yeah, it's Alex from Clash of the Titles, an excellent Stack podcast. He's a handsome man. Alex Zane from the
TV presenter extraordinaire Alex Zane. Yeah. Alex Zane, he presented
he's sat in your chair.
2 of my YouTube videos.
Did he? What?
Yeah, he was,
on not Gogglebox. What was his TV show?
Show he did.
Rude Tube.
What a ridiculous show. We haven't got much budget. Let's just get Alex Zane to look at YouTube videos and make a comment.
15 seasons. It was
God damn it. God damn it.
More successful than any other TV show.
Oh, God damn it, Alex Zane. You smart man.
God damn it.
Smart man.
God damn it.
But yeah, that's cool. I do like that. Japanese bars, the owners, you get the right one, you meet some incredible people. And I do recommend it. Like the message that Knox wanted us to have from this story was go and get drunk in a bar and meet the owner and have fun. And
I think
I can recommend that.
It's not a bad little thing to have like a little directory of rock bars. The problem with like bars in Japan is they close so frequently and open. They're only little, and so they're quite movable. So like if you've got a favourite one year, It's not going to be the same the next year. Even like big institutions like Gas Panic that have been there since like the 90s or the 80s, like they move on. You know, everything changes. Everything changes, Chris. Everything changes.
You'll go back and all your favourites will be shut. But
I know for a
fact
will still be open.
It's still there. I walked past it the other day in Shibuya.
Nice.
I wonder how many people have listened or watched this podcast and gone to Bar Rockaholic in Shibuya because of you.
I've had quite a few people. Must be about 20 people now who've gone, who've attended just because of that. I don't know why I like it so much. It's just, you know what? There's a bar on the corner called Bar Rock Rocks, a couple of floors up, and it's similar vibes. But it's just a bit of a mess.
It's no Bar Rockaholic.
It's no Bar Rockaholic. But this is just a bit more. It looks a bit like a karaoke lounge, and they've just got a big old bar. There's plenty of places to sit, and it's just fun, man. I love it.
I haven't gone since I was very much physically sick after I went there.
Yeah.
Because I had some Baileys, and I think that Baileys had been on that shelf
since
1926.
Yeah, never get Baileys.
Yeah.
And I would extend that to Yogurito, which is a big Japanese drink, which does have yogurt in it. I think it's not. It's a bit like an Actimel. It's like an alcoholic Actimel.
Yeah. If you take one thing away from this episode, guys, don't have Baileys in Japan.
Yeah.
Because about 3 people drink it. I was one of them for a time. And I got sick every single time I went out drinking for several months. I had this like period where I was just like, I love Bailey's Irish Cream. And it was brilliant. But I noticed every single time I was sick. And I thought I had something wrong with me. I thought like, oh, I'm broken. I'm going to die.
I can't process milk.
Maybe, but it turned out it's just all the Baileys in Tokyo is very much expired. Or been open so long and no one's drunk it, that's just sat there and gone off.
Just get if you really want an ice cream, just get a Kahlua and vodka. No. Kahlua and milk. Kahlua and milk.
Kahlua and vodka.
Kahlua vodka's milk. Kahlua and I think is it Kahlua vodka and milk is a White Russian. I think either way.
It is a one. Yeah.
Just Kahlua vodka, milk. Get yourself a White Russian, and they will make you one, and they are delicious. And if you are hungover and you want to get back on it, and you just find it quite difficult. It's because you want to make the most of your party weekend.
I'm too old, I wouldn't know.
And you've got your Friday, and then everyone wants to go out on the Saturday, and you need to just get back up to parity. Grab yourself a Kahlua and milk.
When you're in Japan in a week or two, are you going to go to Bar Rockaholic?
Yeah, of course.
Well, if you're watching this and you're in Japan, harass the man. If you see him, harass him, get selfies, poke him, prod him, tip a Baileys over his head. But if you drink too much Baileys, it is bad for your health. And the news this week in Japan revolves around health and life expectancy. Doesn't it?
Yeah,
fill us in, Mr. Dawson.
It's a quick one, but it's not a good one. The average life expectancy of Japanese people declined in 2022 for the second straight year, affected obviously by coronavirus. The average lifespan for women was 87.
Jesus, that's
0.09 years old. I'd take that.
In the UK, it's 82 or 83, I think.
Yeah, I bet.
Crikey, 4 years long. What?
Down by 0.49 of a year, and that of men fell cracking on for half a year, 81.05 years, with over 47,000 people dying due to the virus, due to recent data by the Ministry of Health, Labour and Welfare. So it's not great, but Japan's life expectancy is still, among women, certainly the longest globally. South Korea are just behind at 86.6, and Spain,
really?
85.83. So we should really be living like the Spanish. Eating late.
Sleeping.
Bit of siesta. Sleeping in the afternoon's got to be a big one.
Why just...
Because their diet is probably the same as the Italians and the Germans. And
why does the Spanish live so long? Lucky rascals. Is it the tapas? Smaller plates.
What's that? Is that the universal sign?
This is me having tapas.
Smaller plates.
Tapas, kudasai.
Okay, nice.
Tapas on the gaishimasu.
It's the castanets. It's good on the old wrists. I don't know.
I want to go to Spain while I'm back. Can I go to Spain?
If you want.
I got like towards the end of my trip here, I've got like a window where I haven't decided where I'm going to go. What I'm going to do.
And that window could be smeared with our Bondagas.
A window covered in Baileys and tapas when I'm done. But
disgusting.
But yeah, Spain could be good. Maybe I could learn the secrets to long life.
Yeah, head on down there.
Go back to Japan where it's the longest.
Barcelona play.
No. We won't be doing that. But among men, Japan's global rank in life expectancy dropped from 3rd place to 4th. Switzerland stood at first for 81.6 years.
Well, just more wholesome lives, isn't it? You know.
Are you saying we don't have wholesome lives here in the UK?
Side of a cliff, dancing around. I don't know what happens in Switzerland.
It's not fair. So, I've been to 2 countries in the world where I've gone this isn't fair.
This isn't fair.
One of them was Switzerland, one of them was Norway, because everything's just so magical and brilliant there.
Yeah.
In Switzerland, there's a place called Lauterbrunnen. Look it up.
Lauterbrunnen.
You drive around the corner, and it's like the Garden of Eden. This mountains, and there's just a valley, and a waterfall is just pouring off the side of this mountain, gushing into the streets, the village below.
Right.
Like a 1,000-meter waterfall.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and I was like, this is a joke. This isn't fair.
Sounds
Why haven't I got
disgusting.
this?
Sounds absolutely disgusting.
Why haven't I got this?
Disgusting.
Lauterbrunnen, look it up.
Sounds disgusting. But yeah, assuming the mortality situation remains unchanged, the ministry assesses that the probability of women born in 2022 will die due to the coronavirus in the future is 3.3% and 3.29% for men. And yeah, they sort of say, don't they, that the first person who's going to live to 200 is already alive now.
I don't think that's possible.
But then you look at these figures and you're like,
it's gone down.
It's gone down.
I don't think anyone's going to live to their 200. I think the oldest living person ever was a French woman who lived to 126.
Right.
And they think that was a lie. There's some like claims that she might have been telling a few porkies.
Yeah.
But the French are like, no, she's the oldest person's French, and they're like adamant that it was her.
Right. Okay.
It's a little bit sketchy. Look it up. It seems like
a big ask to sort of keep that lockdown, really, isn't it?
Well, it's the pride of France.
Yeah.
She's the pride.
She's
dead,
the pride
she's dead
of
now,
France.
but she's
Dead
the pride
now.
of France.
Yeah.
She lived from like the 1800s to like 1997.
Yeah.
Because I remember looking up and being like, what? How's this possible? 126. But whether or not that's true, I think the second oldest living person who's confirmed, I think Japanese lady who lived to 122 maybe.
Jesus. I mean, even when you get to 100, you're like, right, TikTok. TikTok. I know I'm out of here I'm in the elevator, but 22 years after that.
Can you imagine?
Wild, isn't it?
In the case of this, it's a woman, I think her name is Jean Clement or something, the French lady who was 126.
Yeah.
She did a deal with someone.
The devil.
I think she smoked as well to add insult to injury.
They've always got the stories. Oh, yes, I have I drink 5 sherries a day, and I have an affair every day, and it's just always things you shouldn't do.
I drink Logan Paul's drink every day.
Yes, I drink Prime.
Drink Prime.
That could be like a dynastic bit of PR for Prime. Just sort of go, yeah, I'm drinking a lot of Prime at the moment. I'm 126 and I'm drinking a lot of Prime.
Can you imagine that? But I think in the case of Jean Clement, she did a deal where like she sold her house to some guy, but she could stay living in it.
Right.
And the guy was like, she'll be dead in a few years. And she did the deal when she was like 60. And then she
outlived him.
Another 60 years.
Up yours,
Can you imagine spending like over half your life as an old age pensioner?
Yeah, miserable. Nobody wants that. Nobody needs that. Yeah, I'm not looking after myself now. How bad is it going to be in just 20 years? Awful.
That's crazy. How long do you think? How long do you think you'll live to?
300.
I'm
the first person that lived to 200. And he's awful. Imagine that. Oh, the first person who'll ever live to 200 is alive right now. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, he's awful.
Just a horrible racist.
Well, I mean, most of my life I've been racist, and it was fine back then. But now I'm 200. Fuck off! I'm not changing my ways now.
Man,
yeah,
it's trippy. But people in Japan, why they live so long? People often ask. I think the diet's good. They are people are a lot more careful over how many calories they have in Japan. They
shout about.
They're quiet. They eat a lot of fish. They eat less meat, so less risk of cancer there. They eat less processed food in Japan, and they do more exercise. They do more steps. I think I did a video on it, and they people in Japan walk 2,000 steps more on average per day than Americans.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
So
yeah,
more exercise, better food, less processed food, more raw vegetables, more pickles.
More pickles.
More spaghetti.
Picklebacks. That's
Clearly,
the drink I'm having.
I'm not going to benefit from the Japanese diet, given I exclusively fried chicken and just shit. And like
the flour they put in the batter is probably in the grand scheme of things.
That's probably my cholesterol up the spout. But anyway, we're back in just a moment, guys, with your stories, comments, and questions in the fax machine.
Wow.
And we're back with the Facts Machine. What do we got this week from our listeners, Mr. Donaldson?
All right, you pigs. Eva from the Netherlands has got in touch. Dear Catholic Chris and Protestant Pete, this summer, my partner and I are travelling to Japan for 3 whole sexy weeks. I've added the word sexy in there. Do you have any tips for surviving the hot and humid summer in Japan? Is there anything practical we should consider when planning out our days to make things as bearable as possible? Chris, I don't mind admitting I've got such a good idea for them.
Well, go on then.
I've got a lovely bit of wearable tech. We spoke about this on the last show. Wearable tech that makes summers more bearable in Japan.
The fan?
Well, not exactly. This guy has made a little kind of weird motor that sits above his pubis, I think it's fair to say, on his belt line.
Oh, my God.
That basically just pulls the shirt.
It's not even a fan. It just does this.
It just sort of like pushes out the bottom of his shirt, kind of wafting. You know when you want to cool yourself down, you sort of pull your shirt and go.
Yeah, it looks really dodgy though. When he's sitting down at a table and his like shirt's rocking back and forth, it's going to give.
Let me
the
see
wrong
those
impression.
hands.
Yeah.
Kazuya.
Oh my God.
Sexy. But he looks. What I like about it is, I like a man with the confidence of a man who's just invented something cool. To just smile, like the way he's smiling.
Yeah,
as his as his crotch area basically extends and returns to from whence it came. It's good stuff. It's sexy stuff, and I think we should all get one.
Japanese ingenuity at its finest, for sure. Since the Sony Walkman. Oh my God. My advice is just don't go to Japan in summer. It's inescapable. It's like an oven you cannot flee from. But stay hydrated. Drink lots. Literally have Pocari Sweat on tap.
Sweat.
Bring it with you everywhere.
Said it on the first video show.
Yeah.
Drink your Pocari Sweat.
What are you going to do?
Eat your vitamins.
Eat your vitamins.
Eat your fucking vitamins.
Have those salt sweets, the Shior salt sweets.
Yeah.
They're good. They're tasty.
Just take your top off.
I ate don't do that. In Japan, that'll be a quick way back to Haneda Airport. The salt sweets.
Put your top on. I'll go back to Haneda Airport. Go no. I want to live my life. I want to live my life.
Like when I climbed Mount Fuji the other day, I had these salt sweets. Right. Can't remember what they're called. Shiobun charge.
Right. Salt bears.
Shio means like salt, bun means a piece of charge up. And
is a shin bun a piece of news then?
No, shiobun.
Oh, shiobun.
Shinbun charge.
But shin. You said bun means a piece of something.
Bun means a piece of like a partition.
Yeah. So shin bun, as in the Asahi Shin Bun, the newspaper.
Different kanji.
So I thought it might be a piece of news. This is a piece of news.
No, that would make sense, but no.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Thank you.
Have Shiobun charge, salt sweets on tap.
I'll sort it out, Japan. I'll sort your language out, mate. Don't worry about it.
Be careful, though, with Shiobun charge. I did have a lot when I climbed Mount Fuji. I popped too many. And
got too salty.
Well, imagine just...
It's been horrible.
Well, imagine constantly just having salt in your mouth.
Yeah.
It dried up my saliva and destroyed my mouth for a week.
Why did you do that?
Because I was dehydrated. I was like,
your brain wasn't working properly.
I don't need Pocari Sweat. I'll just drink the salt directly.
Yeah.
I'll eat the salt.
You need a fucking Sherpa, mate, is what you need.
It's called Natsuki.
Eating salt licks like a donkey.
That's my Sherpa. Natsuki is my Sherpa. That video will be coming out soon. It might, in fact, be out already.
Be out now, yeah.
Check it out. Only on Abroad in Japan, the YouTube channel. That's good. Maya from Utah says, hello, guys. My husband and I are coming to Japan for the first time in September for our 1-year wedding anniversary. And
Happy anniversary.
Huge Pokemon fans. So we thought it'd be fun to find a few of the poker lids. Poker lids outside of the 2 in Ueno Park. The next closest ones are all the way out in Machida. Since Machida's kind of out of the way, we're trying to decide if it's really worth it to go there to find the lids. Have either of you been to Machida? Is there anything else cool to do there? Maya from Utah.
Yeah, I mean, you just
don't do it.
Going to
Charlotte would go. She'd be like, "Oh my God, fuck Machida, but go and look at the Pokemon lids."
So the lid is just a sewer cover, a cover that covers.
You make
excrement.
it sound horrible.
It's a cover that prevents the smell of raw sewage getting in your nose.
It doesn't work in Tokyo. It's not what Tokyo smells like. Tokyo smells awful, unfortunately. But no, it's a lovely thing.
It is a lovely
thing.
You
can look at Charizard on a floor on the lid. It's great, isn't it? Yeah. I follow, Charlotte made me drive us around all of Tohoku once to look for all the Pokemon lids. And that was time I will never get back. A bonding experience. But my God, they had to stop and start the car so much to look at. Oh, it's Bulbasaur. Oh, and it's the Mewtwo one. Oh. But if you like Pokemon, it's probably worth it. I'm impartial.
That's a big old. There's a lot. We do like a video game podcast called VGC, a video game podcast, and Jordan, the lead singer of the troupe, he big into Pokemon cards. And I just don't know how it all works, Chris.
Well,
everyone's talking about them.
When I was 8, they were big. I spent a lot of my pocket money when I was like 8, 9, 10 on Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
And I'd collect them, and then they'd sort of sit in the cupboard, and that was it. But you'd sort of brag about the ones you'd got. And I remember I had a rich friend, I think Ben, and he was really rich. His parents were just buying whatever he wanted. Bastard. Yeah. It was always like a craze going on in the 90s, and there was like the yo-yo craze. You're probably too old for that. But everyone was like, "Oh, the black magic yo-yo."
Yeah. Where you used to the Pepsi ones, the Pepsi and the Sprite ones, and the Coca-Cola ones.
Well,
and you used to go down to the shopping centre and do tricks.
And
then they'd give you a better one.
But he had the best yo-yo. It cost like £50, and we were all like, "Wow!" And then
what did they do for £50?
What did they do?
What did they do for £50? What did the yo-yo do? Spark and do anything?
It was just the
scream.
It looked good, didn't it? It looked cool. But it was a really weird craze. It was a really weird craze. And then there was Pokemon cards, and his parents just bought him all the Pokemon cards. It was like a gold-plated fucking Charizard. And you'd be like, well, I'm never going to be rich enough to afford that. A piece of card with a photo on it.
Do you know what we used to enjoy in the schoolyard?
Oh, God.
Chaucer. The Canterbury Tales, Chris.
I love Chaucer.
We used to enjoy Brian Friel,
the
Irish playwright. We used to enjoy a little guy you might be familiar with, Sir William Shakespeare. We used to talk about that endlessly. Have you read Bleak House? I love a bit of Dickens. That's what we used to talk. It's just what we used to talk about.
From the man that didn't fly planes until he was 25, or used public transport.
That's what. Yeah, we didn't have Pokemon cards. It was books. It was old books from Victorian time.
We would look up at the sky and look at the planes flying and wonder where and when one day.
They were our Pokemon.
We got one last question from Aaron. He says, "Hello, Carpool, Chris and Punk Pete. Aaron from New York here. I'm a musician and I want to hit you with this scenario. You're on a road trip from Tokyo to Sendai and you're only allowed one song to play the whole time. What song would each of you pick? All the best, Aaron."
What's 2 hours? Is it 2 hours? Is that 2 hours?
What do you mean, what's 2 hours?
Yeah, I started that wrong.
What is this unit of time? Well, it's 120 minutes, please.
It's kind of late here.
It's 8:30 p.m.
My big coffee's ran out. Big song. Is it 2 hours from Tokyo to Sendai?
By car?
Yeah, by car.
Oh, God, no, it's like 4.5. 5.
What? That's wild.
That
Shinkansen really slices up the countryside, doesn't it?
It should be too much volcano.
I mean, that's a long time.
That's a long time to hear Natsuki and
I don't think the song's that long.
I think it's about 3 minutes. So
yeah.
I remember I did a journey
Stick on some Hall & Oates, mate.
Yes. Adult Education's my favourite new Hall & Oates song.
The new Hall & Oates song.
From 1981.
We're like Hall & Oates in many ways.
Yeah. No, we're not.
If Hall had been bitten by a fly last night and his arm had sort of gone up a bit weird,
What the fuck?
It's disgusting.
What song? So what song? My song would be. I did this before actually. I drove to Nagano once from Yamagata, which is about a 4 or 5 hour journey.
Yeah.
And I only brought one CD.
Right.
And it was Suede. I listened to Suede, Britpop 90s band on repeat for 5-6 hours. But that was one song. That was a whole thing.
Yeah, there's very few songs you could listen to over and over again. I mean, there's like maybe Everlong by the Foo Fighters.
No.
Or The Rat, The Walkman.
What about Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin? Because it's so long.
It's so long.
7, 8
yeah,
minutes.
go for something really, like go for something like Philip Glass or something. Lasts for ages, never changes key, just jingling and jangling around.
Or listen to like Aqua Barbie Girl.
Yeah.
And see what psychological effect. I mean, that would be an interesting psychological experiment.
I think they may have done that in Guantanamo.
Guantanamo Bay is just Aqua's album on repeat.
I think they might have done
one song for a 4 hour bus journey. But do that, see what happens. I would love to hear what happens to your mind when it goes to that special place. Keep the stories, questions coming on to broadandjapanpodcast@gmail.com. We'll be back later in the week, guys, do all over again. But for now, no matter where you might be, out there in the big wide world, have yourself a great few days. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you right back here to do it all over again with the ever youthful and the ever happy Pete Donaldson. Look how he looks so dead. He looks so dead.
Look,
8:30 p.m. This is bedtime.
This is bedtime.
I'm too old.
It is. This is exactly my bedtime.
Bye, everyone.
My schedule is edit some more Broad and Japan guff, and then take Sammy Amiobi the dog, and I cradle him in my arms like this, and I sort of go, "We've got to bed now, Sammy," and I sort of shake him up and down a little bit. And I'll pop him in his crate because he's still crate training, and pop him in there, and sometimes he doesn't scream.
I hope the theme tune is playing over Pete just rambling.